to the November residents meeting. Can you believe it's November?
No.
And Thanksgiving and Christmas are just around the corner. Boy, and today is election day. It was for everybody in our country, and it is for everybody here today. And that's the theme of this residents meeting. We are going to forego the committee reports, and you'll get the same printout in your mailbox that you usually get with all of the highlights of each of the meetings. But we wanted to let you get to know these 8.5 people up here. And I'm saying 8.5 because Phil Trima's wife is here and she's speaking on his behalf. He had to go out of town for a family funeral, and we're so glad to have her. And he's kind of told her his life story, so she'll know what to say. So I'm going to, at this point, ask Don Jones to do the invocation, and he needs my mic to do that.
Thank you. Shall we take a moment in silence? Heavenly Father, we thank you for all that we do have. We realize that this week is also Veterans Day. Men died that we might be here. Men died that we might be able to vote. We have been blessed in many ways. We pray that those who win or lose may join together, arm in arm, and not have riots and other terrible things happen. Bless each one of us as we become America at its best. In thy name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Don. And now I'll ask for the secretary's report.
Good afternoon. Is this on? Yes. Okay. I'm Sue Henderson, Secretary of the Council. Madam President, the Westminster Village Residents Association meeting minutes dated October 11th have been duly transcribed and distributed. I move they be adopted.
And I second that motion?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. The minutes have passed. What's next on the agenda? Oh.
It's me playing Mimi.
Oh, okay, that's right.
So we've got a lot of, filling in for going on here. I'm Joanne Gunzer. I am filling in for Mimi, the treasurer of our association, and she gave me the numbers I get to report to you all today. The beginning balance was $9,500. October deposits were $139,000. Yay! And she had to spend $40 to get new checks, so that came out of that. The ending balance for October was, are you waiting for this? $148,000. So that's the money we collected for our employees. And the cutoff date is November 15th. And Mimi wanted me to say that after the reminder went out to people early in November that hadn't given yet, that she did get more checks. So this number is higher than that. But we're tickled with that, and we're looking forward for it to get a little bit higher, people who haven't given. So that's the treasurer's report.
Thank you for doing that for me. Now we're going to get down to the heart of what we're here today for. And because of the microphone issues that we have, meaning it squeals when we have two of them on at the same time, I'm not going to introduce people when it's their turn. I'm going to let each of these nominees introduce themselves. when they speak. And I'll get back to you when all of that is over.
I'm Betty Troilo, and I'm speaking for my husband Phil. And I brought his picture in case you don't know. Close. Okay. All right. Now, this is Phil speaking. I apologize for not being able to tell you this information myself. Unfortunately, I have to be at a funeral in New Jersey today, so I have asked Betty to read this to you. I am Phil Troilo. You may also see my name as Felix, but I prefer Phil. My spouse Betty and I live in apartment 1068. We moved here in December 2020. I grew up on a 140-acre vegetable farm in southern New Jersey in a small town called Penns Grove, which is about 30 miles south of Philadelphia and 110 miles south of New York City. I received a BS degree in electrical engineering from Drexel University in Philadelphia. While at Drexel, I was also a member of ROTC, the Reserve Officer Training, and at graduation received commission as a second lieutenant. And then I spent 2 years in the Army Signal Corps as a radio relay company. I was married to my first wife, Yvonne, for 52 years. She died of heart failure. We had 3 sons, 3 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren. I subsequently married Betty after 2 years of being a widower, and we have been married for 13 years. Betty has 2 children and 4 grandchildren. I spent the first 14 years of my professional life in technical sales and marketing of electronic products, starting as an application engineer and moving through it for 6 positions and 2 companies to vice president and sales and marketing. I then moved into the position of vice president of manufacturing and then general management. Eventually, I and 3 partners acquired a spin-off division of 3M Company. There I was president and chairman of the board for 13 years. After significant growth, the company was eventually merged into a larger medical equipment company and I retired. The last 19 years of my professional life were spent in the management of 2 different ventilators companies. They produced the life support respiratory equipment, which was in short supply during the COVID pandemic. Now, back to Westminster Village. Betty and I have been very pleased with our stay at Westminster. So I think if there's an opportunity to contribute to keeping Westminster this great place that it is, I would be very, very pleased to be a contributor. I believe that organizations succeed through continuing analysis of what satisfies and pleases their customers, and then improving those organizational areas that help the customer to be more satisfied or pleased. Here, the customers are the residents. I think my background should be helpful in accomplishing that. Again, I apologize for not being here personally to answer any questions that you might have. You are welcome to ask by calling me at 3264 after November the 9th. Thank you. Phil Troilo. And there's his picture.
Good afternoon, everybody. You're probably looking at me, I'm Bonnie Corneal, and saying, what is she doing standing up there again? It's probably because in the beginning of 2021, I was asked to join the Health Services Committee, and ultimately in the beginning of 2022, actually the end of halfway through 2021, Joanne appointed me as chair, but to be chair, you have to be appointed to resident council. So I received my appointment to the council and now must be voted in, hopefully. I would like to tell you, for those of you who do not know, many of you know my background, but my background was beginning in 1960 when I, at 16, went into nurses training, and actually 59. At that time, I graduated at 19 as a diploma RN, worked for about 9 years in med-surg, and ultimately became an oncology nurse specialist for 18 years, which was one of the most wonderful times of my life. You know, when you think you have a little jewel in your crown, I felt it when I was an oncology nurse. I ultimately received my Bachelor of Science in Health Administration, and in 1987 was hired by Mayo to help open Mayo and to help open the oncology department there. It was a great experience. Mayo is a committee consensus run organization. I loved it. And as the years went on and my career really was fully there, I ultimately was associate administrator of all the departments of surgery at Mayo over the hospital and the clinic. Big job, but I did really and truly love it. And then came the time for, let me talk a little bit about Louie and I. We've been married, my husband Lou has been married 60 years. He had a death threat on his life this morning if he wasn't at this meeting. He's here. Anyway, we have 3 children, 8 grandchildren, and 5 great-grandchildren, happily. And they're all healthy and well. And Lou supported me throughout my career. When we decided, I guess I have to say, when I decided that we were going to move into Westminster, he loves it here now, folks, it's okay. But in the beginning, I decided, all right, if I'm gonna live at Westminster, I was a WOW member for 2 years, I'm gonna attend every resident council meeting from now until I move in. And I did. And I want to tell you, it was one of the best things I ever did, because I learned that this is really where I wanted to be. I learned how friendly everyone was. I learned how much I loved being here. And I learned how much I wanted to give once I got here. And that's exactly what has happened. Joanne asked me to get on the Health Services Committee. I did. I was asked by Tom to be part of the sub-task force for renovation of the Wyrick Healthcare Center, and I have done that and continue to support that in every way that I can. And then was appointed chair. Let's talk a little bit about what chair of any committee on resident council really means. It really means being your eyes and your ears to staff. It really means being staff's eyes and ears to you. And that is what my goal has been. We need to be able to, and I have in the last 2 years working on resident council, I have learned and appointed to Health Services Committee, which is what I was appointed to be, that it is essential to develop relationships with the people that you work with. I have developed and respect wonderful relationships with Lori Zavan, who is the Director of Home Health and Wellness, with Madge Ball-Cole, who is Director of Sackton, and with Bonnie Wood, who is Administrator of Wyrick, as well as Philippe, who I cherish working with, and Tom. And then there's Garth. Is Garth still here? He told me that he'd vote for me if, you know. So, but I do want you to know that it's been a great opportunity, and I hope that you've all been able to see many of the things and improvements that you've all brought to us and to the Health Services Committee, and how we have been able to respond to you as residents. I want to be your eyes and ears. I want to be able to support you. And I want to make Westminster Village the best healthcare facility in all the retirement facilities in our state and in our country for that matter. And I think we're well on our way. Thank you very much for listening to me. Vote for me.
Well, I am Beth Heisel. This is the first time I've ever needed a microphone because I have a very loud voice. My name is Beth Heisler. I have been here 17 years. 17 months. Westminster was voted the best in the valley. The only way to keep this that way is to move forward in our programs and our activities. I hear many of you say when I'm about that this just isn't the way it used to be. Well, I am sure it isn't. I wasn't here. But times have changed. Economics have changed. A lot has changed. So anyway, but we are the only, and at that time, we were the only facility in this area. And so we have location, location, location. Now there are others being developed close to here. And we must change constantly and look at new ways to be competitive and be able to have a good market and survive. What I have to offer is enthusiasm and experience. My enthusiasm comes from getting to know so many of you in the 17 months I've been here, but didn't very long. My experience comes from being a teacher and having 40 years of volunteering. I have been chairman of the Designer Show House and was instrumental in starting the after prom party at Topeka West High School, and that was in Topeka, Kansas. I was a CASA, which is a court-appointed special advocate, where you advocate for children in the court system. Then I, let's see, where did I go from there? Well, I've held many offices in my church and many other things. I won't tell you those. Now I have moved to Westminster, and I help Bev Wiggins with cards, and so I'm continuing my volunteering activity. I'm on the Activities Committee and was instrumental in starting a knitting and needle craft group that meets every week in the lounge, in the Jayhawk lounge, where we have comfortable chairs. And it's really pretty good. And we have a great time. So if you are a new or old and do any kind of needle craft, come join us. And if you're lucky and Philippe's around by 4 o'clock, we have a glass of wine. It's really good. And I also just became an ambassador and just got my first person today. So that's exciting to let them know how wonderful Westminster is. And last week, I visited every one of the committees. And it was really an interesting experience. It was very informative, and I realized how hard the management, the committees, the boards are working to make this the best community it can be for all of us. And by the way, if you have suggestions, this is a comment card. And if you have anything you want to say that you think should be done, pro or con, or have a fabulous meal, or have a bad meal, fill it out. The boxes to get these are at the post office, the bank, and leave it at the front desk, or you can also do it on the portal. I am not running for a particular position, but I will take any position that the president decides to give me. And I hope my enthusiasm, my experience, and my desire to make Westminster better will earn your vote. Thank you.
This is the time to take a deep breath. I'm Sandra Harris, and I'm running for my second term on the council. I've served for 3 years as chair of the Dining Services Committee. I'm very proud of the accomplishments of the committee under my leadership. I innovated the Chat with the Chefs, which has the purpose of giving you the opportunity to deal directly with the dining services department and to offer your suggestions. And I also innovated the Friendsgiving tables, which gives residents an opportunity who might otherwise be dining alone to be placed at tables with other residents. And other accomplishments of the committee include reinstating the kitchen tours, having community tables in both Ocotillo and the Garden Cafe, and having greater gluten-free and vegetarian menu options. I'd like to tell you a bit about my background and my professional leadership experience. I was born and raised in El Paso, Texas, and a quantum leap for me was going from El Paso High School to Stanford University, where I received my bachelor's degree. I then married and had my 3 daughters and stayed at home with them for a decade, the decade of my 20s. I then went back to school, got my master's and my doctorate in psychology from the University of Oregon, and then had a 30-year career in psychology, working with university students, anxiety problems, and then was hired by the VA and had the privilege of working with our veterans, primarily from Vietnam, and with post-traumatic stress disorder. I was active in the California Psychological Association, which has been my professional organization. I served as its president in 1996 and was then appointed parliamentarian for 10 years after that. I was also elected statewide, one of 2 positions representing California psychologists at the APA, the American Psychological Association, and served 3 terms. An example of my leadership that I'm proud of is that I was appointed chair of the Building Purchase Task Force for the California Psychological Association to find an office building. And I worked very closely with the CEO, and we did purchase an office headquarters with walking distance to the Capitol in Sacramento for $1.8 million. I retired from California to Scottsdale in 2008 and have lived at Westminster Village very happily for 4 years now. I hope to continue my leadership experience to benefit the residents and the association of Westminster Village. To the best of my ability, I will be a strong voice on your behalf, and thank you for your consideration of my qualifications.
My name is Frank Hill, and I came to Westford Village, in Minster Village, about, it'll be 1 year and 2 days. I've met a lot of friends here in the last year, and a lot of wonderful people. In fact, in some of the social circles, I'm introduced as a token, as well as happy hours in some clubs. And being introduced as a token doesn't bother me, it's an honor. Well, a little bit about myself. I was born in Denver, Colorado. I was married for 67 years to my high school sweetheart, who passed away in 2020. I have two daughters who live here in Scottsdale, about 10 minutes away. They keep a good eye on me and try to keep me out of trouble. I have 4 grandchildren and 4 great-grandchildren. A little bit about, I am a veteran. I served in the United States Marine Corps. A little bit about my work profession. I was in information technology for a little over 50 years. Before it was information technology, it was computer systems and things like that. I worked for companies of United Technologies, Litton Industries, and Martin Marietta. In that time frame, I moved to 5 different states, job-related, and then I was in charge of several offices around in different countries around the world. I enjoyed that very much, but I enjoyed also moving here to Scottsdale. In 1990, I moved here permanently. And I came to work for a software company where I was in charge of some development, marketing, sales, and customer support. That was a lot of fun. I retired from that in about 2000. And then I got a little bored, so what I did is I started teaching computer services and Microsoft Office products at individual homes as well as senior residence facilities in Scottsdale, Grayhawk, and Phoenix. That was a lot of fun. I had about 130 different clients, and they ranged in the area of 65 to in the late 80s. We had a lot of fun together. Okay, after that I got tired. I retired permanently. My hobbies were golf, where I was the president of Ancala Country Club for 3 years, which is here in Scottsdale. I don't golf anymore, so I took up with the help of my daughter, I took up the hobby of sewing and quilting and embroidering, which is a lot of fun, and she keeps me busy, and it keeps me busy. I enjoy that very much. Now, the reason I came to Westminster is because having taught in many of these senior facilities, I had a pretty good idea of what they were all alike. And I lived here in Westminster Village, and it's something that really, really hit my hot button. So that's why I moved here, and I enjoy it very, very much. Now, what could I bring to the board, to the advisory committee? I could bring a lot of hope, hard work, and a lot of experience, and I want to keep it just a super organization like the company and facilities we have right now. I thank you for your time and your patience. Good afternoon.
Wow, this is an impressive group. You have a tough job ahead of you picking the right people. My name is Mel Rosick. My wife and I moved here almost over a year ago. We moved from a place called Tondo Verde, which is a golf community in the suburbs, and we enjoyed that very much. It's about 15 miles away. We've been in the valley about 20 years, a little over 20 years. Back to the beginning, I was born and raised in Nebraska, went to the University of Nebraska at Omaha, went into the Air Force, came out a captain, decided I wanted to be in the finance business, went to the University of Michigan to get an MBA, and then I worked for the largest bank in Detroit, which became a subsidiary of the Chase Manhattan JP Morgan Chase, so I'm a Chase retiree. We had about 5,000 accounts, $5 billion in assets. I was responsible for that with a team, of course. And I had, among my clients, 12 heads of auto companies. I managed the University of Michigan endowment for 8 years. And I must admit, you look as impressive as the board of the University of Michigan, which I had to address once a year. So that was fun. Anyway, I love being out here, and I love classical music. I had no musical talent whatsoever. I played golf 65 years, and I skied for 40 years, and played tennis for 25 years. And if I weren't here right now, I'd be playing tennis. Thank you.
Hello, I am Bonnie Hirschberg, and I moved home to Westminster in January of this year. I say that I moved home here because I have been running the halls of Westminster for the past 20 years. My parents moved here in September of 2003, and I have either dined here or taken a trip on the Westminster bus to an event or done something here about every week since then. I was here for the grand opening of Saxton. I remember when there was one dining room here. I was here for the remodel, and all of this area went in. I love Westminster Village. I was a WOW member from 2009 on, and I always knew that this would be my home. So I waited for the marketing office to come available, and as soon as it did, I said, yes, it's sold, I will move in. So a lot of you I knew before I got here. I have met a lot of wonderful people since I've been here, and I am so excited to be here. My background is 30 years in customer service. I was 30 years with Delta Airlines. After coming out of Arizona State with a BS in business administration, I went to work as a flight attendant. I did several years of training in management with Delta, which I went on to do, and I spent a year in Atlanta job shadowing the vice president of in-flight service and dealing directly with the person who dealt with worldwide catering. I have lots of training in all sorts of management skills from Delta, and that's almost like graduating from a university. After that, I went to work for Pulte Corporation in their title company. I got an Arizona real estate license, and I worked in real estate for a number of years. I feel like if I were elected to the council, I could serve in almost any position. I currently sit on the board of directors and have for the last 15 years that does the healthcare programs for Delta Airlines retirees. So we run the Medicare supplement and Advantage plans and vision and et cetera that goes with that. Normally, I would not go into personal details in a speech like this, but I have found it necessary to do that today. So I am going to go into some personal things now. There is a rumor going around about me, and part of it is true and part of it is not true. So I'm going to address that today. I had some behavior about a month ago that was not good behavior. And that is the rumor that's going around. It happened a month ago. I went to the doctor because I am having some blood issues. I spent about half of my day in the doctor's office because the doctor had an emergency come in. I had several tests run for different types of blood cancer, which that day I did not realize came back negative, but they have. They still have not figured out what's wrong with my blood, but I have some sort of an issue. On the return drive home, I ran into a traffic jam, and I had to sit in traffic about an hour, and I had to shut my car off. So it was quite hot that day, and I was very hot. During that time, I got a call from my daughter who said that her husband had to return to a treatment center. He has an issue with drugs. He got addicted to oxycodone several years ago, and he was getting sent back to treatment. A lot of personal information I know, but the reason I need to tell you about it is because when I returned home, someone was in my parking place. I had a complete breakdown about it, and I went into the front lot, I parked, I walked through the building,
I grabbed a bottle of salad dressing out of my refrigerator and put it on their windows. I got back in my apartment, I broke into tears, I figured out that this was very bad behavior. I sat and cried for 10 minutes, and then I went and took a bucket and went out and cleaned it off. I went to the front desk, I gave them $20 and explained what had happened. Security said that they would have to file a report, which I understood and told them they should, and I'm sure they did. I gave Carmen $20 to put in an envelope to give to the people when they came to complain about their windshield being spotted, and she took it. When I returned from dinner, Carmen said the people came to the front desk because they had the sticker from security on their door saying that they were parked in the wrong place. They wanted to know where to park. They didn't live here on campus. So she told them where to park. They never said anything about their windshield being dirty, so they didn't take the $20 that she had, and that was, she said it was taken care of, and she felt that was the end of it. Apparently this week when I was on vacation in Cabo, the rumor mill hit here, and it went all over the place. As far as I'm concerned, the thing that Westminster Village has going for it is community. We have a wonderful location here. We have a lot of competition coming in, but the one thing we have going that other communities don't is that we have community. We have friendship, we can support each other. We have that because of our size. We have that because we all love each other, we care about each other. If you see somebody who has bad behavior, maybe they're drinking too much, maybe they aren't coming to meals, maybe they're sitting in their apartment alone, maybe they do something crazy like I did, don't write bad notes to them and leave them in their mailbox. Don't talk about it behind their backs. Go to them and ask them if there's something wrong. So anyway, I've admitted it to you. I know you have a vote. I wouldn't blame you for not voting for me. I might be a lunatic, who knows. But anyway, this is who I am, and I appreciate your listening to me. And the rumor isn't quite true. It really wasn't ketchup and mustard all over their car. I wasn't going to eat it. So thank you for listening to me, and thank you for coming today. And you have a wonderful group of candidates to vote for.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Bernie Curry, and presently I'm chairman of the Plan Ops Committee. And before I get into my qualifications and everything, I'd like to give you an announcement, which I'm going to break something that Catherine said earlier. I found out today that the press alert system has been approved for expansion. The budget has been approved by the board and by the big bear sitting over here. And during the next year, I plan on poking the bear every now and then to make sure he spends the money in the budget for the press alert system as he planned to do. So at least we'll get that working all throughout the campus. Getting to my qualifications, I have a master's degree in civil engineering. I've been a resident of Scottsdale for 50 years, way back when this place wasn't in existence, and Pima Road didn't go past the canal. I lived in North Scottsdale then, and then the freeway came in, and now I'm living in South Scottsdale, where I live. Anyway, I was a homeowner for 42 years in Scottsdale, and I'm married for 60 years to my college sweetheart. I've been a resident in Westminster Village for 7 years, since 2015. And why did I get involved with the Plan Ops Committee? Well, I figured when I got here, all I wanted to do was go to doctor's appointments and play golf. Well, my wife said, you need to get out and do something and stop being bored. So I went and saw Jack Bates, who was running the Plan Ops Committee at that time, and I asked him, does he need anybody for his committee? And he said, yeah. And so I figured, well, with my background of 25 years in engineering at Motorola, and my master's degree in civil engineering, I thought that the Plan Ops Committee would be a good fit. I've dealt a lot with plant operations, and my owning a home in Scottsdale to deal with a lot of landscaping, a lot of maintenance. I've been under sinks a lot, so I can actually talk to Garth Lorenz about what's going on. As a resident of Westminster Village, I've spent 6 years on the Plan Ops Committee, 1 year as a member of the committee, and 5 years as chairman of the committee. And during that time as chairman, we've accomplished quite a few things. They're not real large things, but they're important things, such as the mirrors in the elevators, so when people are in wheelchairs and they back out of the elevator, they can tell if somebody's standing there and they don't run the person over. We've also added some extra lights in the parking area. We've got some trees trimmed. Get tongue-tied. We've done some things like adding lights to the parking area. We've tried to control the speeders by finally getting them to pay a fine of $25 if they're speeding. We've tried to help out the people who fail to pick up their dog poop by fining them also. So we try to improve things. And as a member of Westminster Village, we try to get the staff to change things to make the place better, because we do live here and this is our home. So even though we don't have a vote, we do have a say. And like I said, if I get reelected during the next year, I'll poke the bear every now and then. Sometimes he needs to be poked, but he sleeps. Anyway, Philippe is laughing back there. You know, it's really interesting if you look out over people here as you speak, you get different reactions from people. Anyway, if you like what I've been doing in the past, vote for me. If you don't like it, don't vote for me, vote for somebody else. A lot of qualified people here. And contrary to what some of the local politicians are, win, lose, or draw, I'll accept the election the way it is.
My name is Eleanor Scrimshire, and I've been here about a year and a half. I'm not used to this. I moved here from another facility that I was in because I had broken my leg in December of 2019. So after the hospital and rehab, I moved into another place close to here. And of course, COVID entered the picture, and so I spent 1 year going to rehab and just in my room. We were quarantined most of the time.
Can't hear you!
Okay. Real close. Okay, I was born in Roswell, New Mexico. I'm sure I'm the only one that was born in New Mexico, or born in Roswell. And I was born before the UFO incident. I was alive then, and I could tell many tales because everyone comes up when we were back in Roswell. What happened? Did you see the aliens? Something did happen, and there's still questions in the government as to why they won't release the information. So I'm not quite sure, but things were seen. And I'm very southwest. I was born in Roswell. I went to the University of Texas. I got a business degree. My husband was from Oklahoma. We got married in Roswell and went immediately to California and started in Bakersfield. My husband was with Goodyear. So we moved to Bakersfield, moved all over California with Goodyear. And it was interesting because he was in charge of the blimp a lot of the times when it was in Southern California. And so I've been on the blimp, and I've been on a hot air balloon. So I've done those things. I have played golf, I played tennis. I'm about a C player. Anyway, those days are gone with the play. I have 3 children, they're here. I have 8 grandchildren, they're here. And I have 4 great-grandchildren, and I think no more right now. Anyway, I've enjoyed this so much. I came through here with a friend about 10 years ago, and we had gone to several of these facilities and immediately liked this one the best. She had to move to Tucson, but I got to come in here, and she's very jealous, I can tell you. But anyway, I want to say that I think that the people here are very friendly, and I've been to 3 committee meetings, and I recommend that if you can go, that's the way to do it, because I've learned a lot about all the facilities and what's going on. I feel that I could listen. I've been on the board of Assistance League of Phoenix. I was president of Orange County Guild in California. That was helping deaf children. It was in John Tracy's honor. And then I volunteered here at the hospital for 15 years. So I've done a lot of volunteer work. I know how to listen to people and run things. But I'd like to be on the board, but I got a lot of professionals here. So anyway, please consider me. It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
We got a big job ahead of us, don't we? Figuring out 3 of these people. You got a big selection. And you've heard them today, but in your mailbox, you are going to get a little written biography. So if you if you have trouble like I do remembering who was from Roswell, or who had a hot button, you can remind yourself by looking at the biographies and putting it together with the people that you saw today. And then after you figure who you're going to vote for, you will today get in your mailbox a ballot that has all 9 names on it, and you can vote for 3. Check the boxes. If you vote for 4, your ballot will be thrown out. If you vote for 2, because that's all you liked, then maybe you should consider running next year. After the ballots will be in your mailbox today. You can start filling them out anytime you want, but the deadline to submit them is December 12th at noon. And then there's going to be a committee that counts those, and at our next residents meeting, we'll tell you the results. After you filled out your ballot, you put it in an envelope like this. And it's asking you to print your name, print your apartment number, and sign the envelope. If you don't sign the envelope, the ballot goes in the wastebasket.
Question, is there 1 ballot per person or 1 ballot per apartment?
1 ballot per person. The ballot box is in the post office lobby. I think it's there today, right? Yep, it's there. The important thing to remember though is you have to sign this. And then when the counting committee gets together, they first check, they put them in alphabetical order and check to make sure that you only signed 1 envelope. So if you sent in your ballot tomorrow and you got to know more information on December 12th and decided you wanted to change your vote, you can't do that. If you put in 2 envelopes with your signature on it, guess where they go?
Paper shredder.
Yep. So, I just wanted you to know that after all the ballots are taken out of the box and counted by a committee, the committee separates the envelopes from the ballots, so nobody ever knows who you voted for. Some people, that's just like our election here. You know? You vote. I'm encouraging you all to vote. If you have any questions, all of these 9 people here today are going to hang around after the meeting, and they are going to answer any questions you have individually. If you want to set a longer time, if you want to have lunch with them, it depends on who's paying, but they'll probably have lunch with you. Anyway, I encourage you to vote. I want to thank the council members, they aren't all up here today, for helping out in the nomination process and the paperwork of getting the little flyer that you got with the mini biography in your mailbox. I haven't been up to doing a lot, and everybody else has pitched in, and I really appreciate that. Some of them are sitting out here because they don't have to be up here today. But I hope they're still here, and I hope they realize that I do appreciate it. Did I have something else on my short agenda? Nope, I got it all. So with that, I'm going to adjourn the meeting, but Tom has a few things he's going to talk about today.
All right, so I have 3 things to talk about, and one that I'm not supposed to talk about is the election, but I agree, what a great group of candidates, so I think we can do no wrong here. Unlike with local, state, national politics, I think we got a great group here, so I think they'll do a great job of representing the residents, and that's what the council does, is they represent the residents. It's an important job, so again, do your work, talk to these people, and elect good people as we've had in the past. We look forward to working with whoever's in the meetings at the beginning of the year. And again, obviously appreciate the people that have served and are turning out or being re-upped. So that's fantastic. The 3 things I was asked to talk about is Donnelly's. So rumor is Donnelly's is going away. That rumor's not right. Donnelly's isn't going anywhere. We expect to see Donnelly's continue. There's a downturn in the number of people going to Donnelly's right now, and we're doing a little bit of checking to find out what that is. I think some of it is the economy and the raised rates and the cost. Some of it's the menu just kind of getting old. Some of it, rumor is services aren't as good as they once were. So Philippe and I and a couple of resident guests are eating in there on Thursday, and we're gonna work our way in a few times to see what we should do. But our goal with Donnelly's is not to change anything overnight. So we're not making any decisions on Donnelly's except for the fact that it'll still be here come the beginning of the year. We'll work with food service to make the improvements that we hear from you on comment cards, that we see for ourselves in the dining room when we're in there Thursday night, I believe. But Donnelly's is not going away. We're going to work hard to make sure Donnelly's is that place you can go in and have a meal, invite your friends, and walk away and go, wow, it was incredible. So we will get Donnelly's right again. It's at a low point right now, but we will get it back to what it was prior to COVID. So just rest assured, and don't let anybody start a rumor that Donnelly's is going away, because it's not. The other one was the marketplace, and I know the marketplace opened up. Nick and his team did a lot of work, and we got it about probably 50% right to start off. It's a big project. It's a work in progress, working on pricing and working on getting the right vendors so we can bring some of that pricing down, and then working on getting the right mix of products. I don't think I've seen any comment cards on the marketplace yet. So I'd encourage you to let us know what it is you like in the marketplace and what it is you don't like. We know $10 cereal is one of the things you don't like, so that was pretty quick and easy to take away. But again, if there are products that we don't have in there and you'd like to see them, let us know. If there's things you like in there, let us know so they don't disappear as we try to get the product mix right. So it's important that we know what it is you want to see in there. And again, the goal of the marketplace was kind of twofold. It's meant to be that place you can go in an emergency if you're going shopping on Thursday and it's Monday and you need a half a dozen eggs. You don't have to go to the grocery store. You go to the marketplace and get a half a dozen eggs. If you need a razor like I do, you can stop by and get the razor. But it's meant to be that middle ground, so you don't have to run off to the grocery store to pick up a lot of those items. It can hold you over for another couple of days or even a week before you go to the grocery store. The other purpose of it is to, if somebody wants to get something quick, whether it's an employee or a visitor or a guest or somebody checking into the guest suites and the restaurant's already closed, they can run in there and grab something to get them by. There's something to eat on those hours, especially like our night shift up in assisted living or over in Wyrick. In the past, we've had nothing but candy in the vending machine that they could get, so they were bringing in pizza or something like that. The marketplace is meant to be able to supplement their meals, so they can get in there and get something, you know, that's fairly healthy, or they can get something that's not healthy, like the frozen burritos or the Snickers ice cream bar, which I want to get every time I walk by. So again, the marketplace will continue to grow, but again, give Nick or the comment cards those things that you'd like to see us offer and those things that, you know, you don't think you'll ever use. So the last thing is, again, I'm excited about election season being over. I know for us it lasts another month. For the state it lasts a couple of days or a week. But I'm happy to see elections be out of our mindset and holidays be kind of in our mindset, where instead of we looking at what's different from us, what brings us together, right? So getting into the holiday season is always fantastic here. You know, we have the holiday party for the employees, the holiday fun that you all do, just amazing things. And then the last part of that is we did lose an employee last week. So I think a letter went out. Richard from the post office passed away surprisingly. Megan's working on some sort of a ceremony that we can do here, kind of like we did for Robert. So we've lost a number of employees in the last 3 years. And so we'll have something coming out about that. But again, it's just don't take for granted that any one of us or all of us will be here next week or next year. Again, there's so much good on this campus, so much good in the people on this campus. Enjoy it. Let's get our voting done and get back to caring about each other and coming together as a community, as opposed to kind of being apart by, depending on what side of the aisle you sit on the politics. Again, it's about those relationships. It's about, you know, who we are as a community. So let's get back to doing that after you vote. Thank you.